Welcome to the Faithful Fireside podcast.
Better looking without your hat.
Okay, well, I'll take the hat off in this episode.
We walked into Eddie's.
That's a reason for me.
We walked into Eddie's the other night to celebrate something that happened to him at work, and he was dressed like this, and everybody was looking at us, and I was like, I can't be seen in public with you. And then I got home and told Katie, and she was like, they probably thought he was like dressed up for a play.
Yeah. We talked about that in the last episode a little bit. I think I have a theory that you kind of look like what catechizes you or what teaches you, you know. And so I've been reading like G.K. Chesterton a lot and things from like, you know, the early 20th century from Britain, and they just dress like that. And so I've been wearing the hat. My wife likes it, you know, as another reason. But that's the real reason why, you know, just trying to look nice and go to the office and dress nice and not just wear what everybody else is wearing, sort of.
Yeah, and you said be the change in the world you want, right?
Yeah,
you want to see.
I've said that.
Well, I'll have to watch one of your videos without your hat and see that in person. In my opinion, you're a nice-looking man.
Thank you.
But the hat reduces your attractiveness.
Okay.
The first time she met me, I had a giant beard.
Yeah,
Katie and I were engaged, so she was judging me. And then COVID happened, and I had shaved my beard, and she was like, Kevin, I didn't know you were like so handsome. She's like, the beard was hiding it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, I'm sure Kevin should at least prepared you that I pretty much say what I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think we need more of that. So
don't ask me unless you really want to know. What
I think. Yeah.
All right, well, let's get started.
Okay.
That works. Today we are here with Dr. Shirley Talley. This is my wife's grandmother. This is our first guest episode, so we've got a couple of questions for her just to kind of hear about her life and how long and amazing it's been. So, first time. This is the second time you guys have met.
Yes, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
At my second daughter's baptism.
Yes.
You guys were both there.
Yes.
Yeah. We can kick off right into it. So, high level, kind of just tell us a little bit about your life. Very high level, just like born. Where were you born? Where were you raised? Where did you go after? And then after that, we'll start digging into like specifics of all of that. So very high level. Mm-hmm. When you meet someone off the street, how do you introduce yourself?
You want a very brief outline.
Yeah.
Just with the major parts.
Yeah.
I was born in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, to probably an almost poverty level family. My father was automobile mechanic, worked on the first Fords that came into our world. And my mother's mother died when my mother was 13, so her schooling was cut short to take care of younger siblings. So they struggled financially. I had 3 older sisters. My home was always filled with music. Somehow my mother managed that we always had a piano. My home was filled with love. I was an absolutely adored child. My sisters were 7, 11, and 13, so I was a real baby doll. And they moved to Arkansas when I was 5, and that's where I grew up, in Fort Smith. And my mother started working outside of the home when I was 9. My oldest sister, her husband, and her baby, and my parents bought a house together. So we lived together. So I had a family taking care of me when my mother was working.
Right.
High school I had everything. I don't know how it all happened, but if student body elected you, I got it. If the faculty nominated you, I got it. My picture was in the newspaper every other week. And that was quite remarkable for a girl from such simple circumstances.
Yeah.
And my dad was not demonstrative was a good man, but in that generation, men were not to show emotion.
Mm.
So I didn't grow up with hugs and cuddling with my dad, but I did get a slap in my face when I was 16.
Mm.
I don't know what I said, but I remember that he looked at me and he said, "I am your dad. I will always be your dad, and you will never disrespect me." And I didn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't hurt me. He just got my attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I married quite young at 20, was a stepmother the minute I said I do to a 4-year-old boy whom I came to adore, and he adored me. And together, my husband and I had 3 more children. And he had a daughter that was raised by her mother. So to some extent, I parented 5. I trickled along, increasing my education by going to junior college in Fort Smith and then taking whatever classes wherever we were living that I could.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mid-50s, after a divorce from the father of my children, and very successful second marriage, I earned my PhD in communication disorders.
Okay.
Retired when I was 68. Moved to Grand Lake in Grove. Loved it. Had an amazing life. And then when your wife was pregnant with your first child, she said, "Grams, when are you moving to Edmond?" And I said, "When you're pregnant." She said, "Start packing."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we told her at brunch.
amazing.
And she started crying.
Yes, I am emotional.
No, that's good. Yes.
So that was a struggle.
Yeah.
And some days I think, why am I here? Why am I in Edmond? Because I'm lonely. But I would be lonely in Grove because I've outlived all my good friends.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I have had beautiful experiences with your babies because I've been here.
Yeah. And obviously a ton of help. Our go-to babysitter for everything.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know you were born in Pawhuska.
Yes.
Do you have memories growing up there? Or is it?
Very, very little. We left between my 4th and 5th years. One thing that I remember, because I was, as I said, I was the baby, the baby. And I was 4-ish. My mother was rocking me, and a man burst through the front door. And he said, "I'm not going to hurt you. I just need someplace to go." And he ran through the house and went out the back door. And I remember that vividly.
Wow.
And he was running from the police.
Oh.
Wow.
And we lived across the street from the high school.
Okay.
And I remember stadium lights and the noise on home football games. And a dog. I had a dog named Patches.
Okay.
And Patches went to dog heaven.
It's a good dog name.
Patches is a great name. Yeah.
During that time of my life, and my mother vowed we would never have another dog because of the grief of losing Patches. And so the only pet I ever had was a bird.
Okay.
It's hard to feel affection with a bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about, like, they're still more like dinosaurs or something. You know, it's not quite the attachment. Yeah, agreed.
So
I've driven through Pawhuska once, and it's beautiful country. Yeah.
The movie about the abuse of the Osage Indians.
Yes. Killer of the Flower Moon.
Yes,
Right?
I need to read and watch that.
My dad lived. Well, I don't know if I was born yet. I don't know exactly when that happened. But my dad experienced that. And he shared with me at one point, when I was a teenager, my dad and I used to sit, we had a stoop, not really a porch. It was just like 5 feet square at the front door. My dad and I would sit on the front porch, and he would smoke, and we would talk, and it was wonderful. And during one of those talks, he told me about the experience, and he said the Indians had all this money coming in, and they would buy a new car, and they would drive it till it ran out of gasoline, and they thought it was broken.
Ooh.
So they would leave the car wherever it ran out of gasoline and go buy another one.
Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And he talked about the deceit and the abuse of the money and the position that the Native Americans received, but they didn't know how to handle it.
Right.
And what was referred to as the white man abused them and fathered many illegitimate babies as part of the abuse.
I need to read that book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Katie talks about it a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, because I think, was it last year? My wife's Uncle Mike passed away. When did I have to leave? I think it was last
right,
year.
yeah.
So he had, before he passed away, he'd mentioned that book to me because he was living in Texas.
There's a lesson there for humanity. I have I will use the word dislike rather than use a stronger word.
Sure.
Toward professional athletes.
Yeah.
Because of all the money and all the abuse.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it's not their fault.
Yeah.
But they're not prepared for what they receive, and it leads to destructive habits and sad lives.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing is still going on. It's just under a different circumstance.
It reminds me, it just made me think of like Jesus's, the new wine and new wineskins, like it's a vessel not ready to receive what it's about to receive and breaks. Yeah, that's what comes to mind.
Exactly.
And there's something about I think that's part of why when we have, prayer and fasting and trying to prepare ourselves to receive like more of God's grace.
Yes.
Because he doesn't force himself on us, but if you can only take a thimble's all you get. If you can take a lake, you get the whole lake. But there's this process that we have to go through to be more Christ-like to receive that. And so God's not forceful, but then if you you can have a sort of like Beverly Hillbillies moment, right? Where like the black gold, they all of a sudden get all this money and then they get transplanted somewhere else and all this like hilarity ensues. But in real life, it's not really that funny. If all that rushes on you at once, you like drown under it.
Right.
So that's.
I personally believe that what I will refer to as the basic sin is greed.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my opinion, all other sins that are listed take the 10 Commandments. And in my reasoning, the very initial foundation is greed. I want something I do not have.
Yeah.
And I want it to the point of being driven to obtain it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know how to use it, so I become abused by the result of my greed.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
I think so.
It does.
Yeah. Because there was something, I can't remember who I got this from, because this is not original to me, but somebody had mentioned something similar, and instead of using the word greed, they used the covet word, right? Like the desire for somebody else's something was like the fundamental flaw in like all of the way we build our structural societies now. It's like they have that, I want that. And then like in the social media world that like spreads like a virus, everybody will kind of flaunt what they have, and then other people are like, my life's not like that.
A tool of Satan.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Which we're trying to use for good. But you're right though, because primarily that's I had the professor at Oklahoma Christian University named Charles Ricks, and his classes were really, really good, but he'd always say that evil is catching, like sickness and like good is something you have to work for. So he would say, evil is catching. And so like the first thing that you do with social media is basically amplify and broadcast vice. It's a lot easier to do that than
I had and continue to have a specific disability relative to computers, because when I was working at the university, not a major university, population of about 4,000, but it was an institute of higher ed, and it went computer. I was blessed by having a third level administrative position. President, the academic VP, and I was assistant VP.
Okay.
So the faculty was under me. Technology jumped to me. Custodians jumped for me. And so when my computer was set up, all I had to do was say to the secretary, call tech. And tech would be there immediately, because I was a big deal in the system.
Right.
And everything would be fixed. And so all I knew to do was to any documents that I needed to prepare or participate in, and email. Then when I retired, I had no tech. And I have stumbled through ever since then.
I mean, for your generation, I feel like you use it pretty well.
Thank you.
You and my grandfather are like definitely the top 1% of that generation that knows how to use a computer decently, right? Like when Perplexity first came out, I was showing her how to like use that instead of Google.
Oh, right.
The AI, and then
much better search engine.
Like sometimes you've done yoga classes through Zoom and stuff, right? So I mean, that's better than most.
I do. The state has a program called SAIL, and that's an acronym, and I don't remember exactly, but it's something like staying active in life, designed for seniors. And when all things come together, I still do that twice a week.
Yeah, that's good. Tell us a little more about growing up in Fort Smith. You're all the way up to your high school time. 'Cause it had to be a smaller town then, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think when we were there initially as a family, I think it was about 45,000.
Okay.
And the Fort Chaffee Army Base was active when I was a teenager. And I attended, most of my life, I attended the First Baptist Church, Southern Baptist in Fort Smith, because there was a man in my neighborhood who would have been the age of my parents, who picked up young people in our neck of the woods that wanted to go to church, but their parents didn't take them and we didn't drive. So I was at the First Baptist Church. And I wanted very much, when I was about 16, to date a soldier. And I wasn't allowed to date yet, period. But certainly not a soldier. So I made a date with a soldier. And I thought, okay, he wants to take me to church. So what's my mother going to do when he comes to pick me up and take me to church? I thought I had it all smooth. So he was probably 19, just a kid in the Army. And he comes to pick me up, and my mother welcomes him in very graciously. And she says, I'm sure that you're such a nice young man that you'll be delighted to take Shirley's sister, to give Shirley's sister a ride. I was 16, my sister was 23. I could have just gone through the floor. Yeah. My mother was always a step ahead.
Yeah.
Always just a step ahead. So I lived a very naive life growing up. I remember, I don't even know how far I walked to school, to junior high, every day. Let me start with grade school. My mother and dad would always find a house to rent close enough that we could walk to school wherever. So I went to Rogers Elementary and had a great education, great experience. Went to junior high. Junior high was a little bit of a struggle because the girls started forming cliques and what they called sororities. So in order to get into a sorority, you had to do whatever they told you to do.
Right.
So this one day, this little girl said, "Okay, here are my books. You carry my books today." So I carried her books for about the first 2 hours. And then I met up with her and I said, "Here are your books. I'm not interested in your sorority." But that was a hard time. We called it junior high. It was 7th, 8th, and 9th grades.
Okay.
And that was a hard time for me. And I also fell in love. And his name was Tommy. And Tommy was from a very wealthy family. And I truly loved him. And then we moved into high school. And I don't know what happened. I came out of a shell. And as I said earlier, everything that you could be or have in high school. I was class president my last 2 years and spoke at graduation. And I was homecoming queen and wasn't dating a football player, which was practically unheard of.
Yeah, that sounds impossible. Like small town Friday Night Lights culture and everything like that. That's like mind blowing.
So I've already told you about my experience with my dad, but my junior year was just amazing. All kinds of awards and acknowledgments. And so at the end of the school year, my mom said, "Would you like to have new clothes for your senior year?" And I said, "Oh, yes." She said, "Okay, I have a job for you. And it's in Wichita, Kansas." And it was her sister who owned a restaurant in Wichita, Kansas, and it was like a truck stop out on the highway. So I moved to Wichita by myself, moved in with this aunt and uncle, worked the breakfast crew, learned how to handle men who wanted something other than bacon and eggs.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to say that.
I did the laundry for my aunt and uncle. She wore a white uniform every day, which I had to keep washed and ironed. I kept house. I did their laundry, and I worked through lunch 6 days a week. I grew up so much that summer because of the wisdom of my mother and how she just directed my life at times to teach me what I didn't know I needed to know. It was an amazing time of maturing for me.
And so that was just for a summer?
That was just for a summer.
Okay.
But I did buy all my clothing for my senior year out of those earnings.
Nice. It's hard, like, because, we're parents of small kids, and it's something I'm thinking about, even now. It's like, how do you, in a, the most safe and sort of controlled way that you can, introduce your kids to the things that they need to encounter while you're still there to assist or help or guide, and not just, because we homeschool ours. I don't want to homeschool our kids all the way to 18 or 19 and then just kick them out and be like, "Cool, there's the wide world. I'm not there anymore."
It's an amazing challenge, and there have been times that I would have taken your older girl and just skipped the country.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like what they were doing.
Right.
And And one of them was when they started her dance lessons at 2.
Her first one, she was there for it. Mary was like bawling and crying to get out of the
Her heart was
room.
broken.
Yeah.
Well, first several lessons I went to, I quit because I was angry.
Yeah. Just because she didn't want to dance, or there was something.
It was her first time in that environment, scared.
Okay,
Mommy
yeah.
and Daddy wasn't there.
Gotcha.
And she was like, Kevin, you're going to have to keep me from going in.
Oh, man.
It was.
Yeah.
She was like, this is torture.
It was serious for me. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And now I wonder, she is Kevin's clone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
But there are some extensions of that are scary.
Kevin's a very frightening individual sometimes.
because I'm not going to address you. I'm talking to Ryder. He leads her in a sense of don't be afraid.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't be afraid. You can do this. You can do this. You can go from the very top of the slide when you're this long.
Yeah.
You can jump in the pool and swim. You can walk in the snow barefooted. And she does.
Yeah.
And it's exciting, and I appreciate that. But she's also being equipped to try things he's not going to want her to try.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
the line, man.
That's
the line? Yeah.
That's a line that I don't know. I don't know where they can find it.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
But
and it's in so many things too, because I was reading a book that's 13, I think, is like the kind of recommended age. And so I was vetting it because I have a young daughter, Eliza, who's a really good reader. So the kind of 8 to 12 normal range is really, really, really easy for her. So I'm vetting this book, and I'm like, okay, there's a sad thing that happens in this book. It's a love story so there's a relationship that forms between these two main characters, and like she's 9, she's going to be 10 this year. Will this stretch her in a good way or not? And so you just kind of have to do the best you can to like prayerfully discern that. And so that's like a mental stretching instead of the, running out in the snow and barefoot. But where's the line in all those things? I'm constantly thinking.
Well, have you considered homeschooling that is a group situation?
Well, we have. So my wife is the one who does most of that. I only teach some classes at night after work, like we do poetry and things like that together. And so she's thought of some co-ops and different things like that. But I think one of the barriers to entry is with a lot of them, you have to do the curriculum that they are using in the co-op.
Yes,
and she's
I'm
not
sure.
Yeah, and she's not really wanting to do that because we have kind of collaborated to put something together that we like.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
The reason I ask, there is a home school, I guess it's called a co-op. I didn't know the vocabulary.
Yeah.
That meets in my church.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And
yeah, they're usually through a church network, usually. Yeah, from my understanding.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Guthrie has one that we had looked at because it's a Catholic one, and we were kind of interested in trying to keep them as closely connected with the church life as possible.
I would get that, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but Lindsay ended up deciding that we just like what we have, and so we have most of like the group education is like religious ed classes that St. John's does,
And his wife was a teacher.
Right. Yeah.
She has her master's.
She has her master's.
But
yeah.
I do think it's a huge issue to homeschool them isolated, just them.
Yes.
And yet they will eventually have to live
right
outside of that environment.
That's right.
And that's a huge bridge to cross.
It is. That's why I think about it all the time. Like, how do we do it? Because you have to expose them to what the world is like, but you're trying to do it in such a way that their education and faith foundation is enough that they can kind of engage with it instead of being washed away by
And-
it, and that's
But
really
when are you old
challenging.
enough to do that?
I know. Yes.
When,
I was just reflecting on that the other day too, because because I'm like reading, I was thinking like when I was, I don't know, I am 34, almost 35. So I was thinking about 5 to 8 years ago, I would, read a story or watch a movie or a show and just like get obsessed with that, and then have to have this sort of struggle with the being too fascinated, kind of like autistically, with what happens in the story, so that it's almost idolatrous. So I'm thinking so much about the story that it's pushing out more foundational things that I should be doing.
well, the two of you are extraordinarily intelligent people. I mean, you have extraordinary brains, and you don't have to talk with either of you very long to recognize that. But as far as the world goes, you're weird.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
You're
Yeah.
there are issues about both of you that are different,
Yeah.
and that's another component that your children will be dealing with as they move out into the world more and more, because most of us don't think like you think.
Yeah. Mary is a clone of you, and my oldest daughter is a clone of me. So we have that. Eliza is very much that way.
And my personality, and I'm not sure about personality, how much is innate and how much is shaped.
Sure.
I don't have a really strong opinion on that, but my generation and my home protected me to the point that I was stupid.
Yeah.
And you could use the word naive to clean it up a little bit. But there's a negativity to being naive, because you step in big black holes and you go, oh, well, what is this?
Yeah.
This isn't pretty.
Yep.
So I come at this issue from kind of a personal experience. I was not prepared.
Yeah.
I was prepared to be a really good kid.
Yeah.
And I was prepared to be a really good academician, because I look back at pictures now and I think I was a pretty young woman. But when I was living that, I didn't think I was.
Yeah.
So all I had, I didn't have money, I didn't have pretty clothes, I didn't have looks, in my opinion. So all I had was my mind. So I achieved academically. I went through a PhD always on scholarships. I came out owing no one anything.
Which is amazing. Yes.
Well, I fell into that pocket of being very bright and low income.
I see.
And I was motivated academically because that's what I could do best. But I didn't marry wisely. I was truly in love and loved him always, but it wasn't a good choice as a married spouse.
Well, that's kind of the next question I had was, so like, how long after graduating was it till you got married, and how did you meet him and all that?
I graduated in May. I actually finished in December of the junior college.
Okay.
I had a scholarship to Mary Hardin Baylor for that spring semester. At that point in time, that was the girls' school of Baylor.
Okay.
And my parents were excited for me to go there because it was an all-girls school. So I would be shielded. And what happened, my parents had no idea. It was filled with girls who were incorrigible, whose parents said, okay, the college can take care of them. We can't control them, so we'll send them to Mary Hardin Baylor.
Okay.
So I learned a lot
Yeah.
in that experience. But so I went to that one semester at Mary Hardin Baylor. So I had the 66 hours from junior college, and then the 18 hours at Mary Hardin Baylor, and then I married in July.
Okay.
Okay. And you were 20.
and I was 20.
Yeah, I was 20 when I got married. Lindsay was 19.
How can a 20-year-old have the sense to get married? I didn't. You probably didn't either.
No.
Maybe you looked out and married the right one. We don't know from up when we're 20,
Yeah.
but we're legal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of pushback. I mean, Lindsay and I have been married for like 15 years this year, but it was one of the things where, like, I mean, nobody was really happy that we were doing that.
Do you think it's because we live in easier times that we don't mature as fast? Because, I mean, like, a lot of the founding fathers of the U.S.
I think
were
it's-
teenagers.
I think it's just the way we're built.
Yeah.
Whenever we live, whatever generation, the issues would be different. But
Yeah.
I think it's just the psychological development of a human being.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the brain is fully developed at 25, I think is what we're saying.
27 for like
27.
that, yeah.
Okay.
That's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, in that mid 20-ish. And
But we think we know it all when we're 18.
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, that's right.
And I don't know anything about you financially, so I can't address that. But
Sure.
I believe you are a very successful man, and I believe you always will be, because you're a finagler.
It's very true. That is a great way to describe you. You are a finagler. Yes.
And you're bright,
It's
and
even his name.
Yeah.
and you love your children with a passion.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to you about being warmer and considerate to your wife. And
He tells me that all the time.
Kevin, can you not just love your wife more? I do it all the time.
but you're going to push those girls, and there's no stopping you. And look in their rooms. I don't buy them gifts because they have 14 of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I contribute to their college fund, and they don't care. What they want is to open a package.
Mm-hmm.
But you can, and you do, and you will. But those girls are going to be pushed.
Yeah.
This was the first year we did the day after Christmas. We made Mary count all her toys. So she counted 15, and we were like, okay, go in your room and pick 15 toys to get rid of. So we made her physically do that.
So
Yeah.
how many times have you done that?
This is the first year to do it.
So once a year?
So for the new toys coming in for Christmas, we go,
So maybe you should think about doing that with birthday also.
yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
At least twice a year.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in the circumstances, I think it's a very good idea. But what you must do as you do that is not let her see that as a threat or a punishment,
Yeah.
but that she has the capacity and the things with which to share
Yes.
and teach her. And it's going to be tough because she's not a giver.
Yeah.
She's a taker.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be tough to teach her the joy, that there's more joy in giving than receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how to tie it in. We plan on taking her to the Goodwill when we drop it off and have her do it, but maybe some other donation place would be good too, where she can actually see maybe kids getting that stuff or something. Kids who don't have it, right?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Well, if there is a situation where she can be more personally involved,
Mm-hmm.
and it upsets me that she says I hate Lent
Yes.
She's getting better now.
Yeah.
because she's not getting the concept.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
what are you teaching?
Yeah, well, that's one thing I've actually been happy about with her schooling. They're just now teaching all the kids these Lent songs. So in those songs, it's like, I forget how it goes, but it's like 40 days of fasting, 40 days of something. But yeah, so I think she's kind of getting it with the songs.
But don't ever make the mistake of saying the school can teach her.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And I'm sure your children are brilliant also, but I don't know your children. But
Right.
and our baby is coming along beautifully. But Mary's a whiz, and she uses her intelligence to manipulate.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Kevin.
Yeah.
So-
he actually runs the office. People just don't know it.
Yes.
Yes.
And I have shared with Kevin in some conversations with him before, but I haven't been in your home much lately because of circumstances,
Yeah.
but I have seen Mary rule the roost, and she's a whiz kid, and whiz kids are a much bigger challenge than a child is not so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's helped having the second kid, her realize, like, yeah, you're not the focus. So, but yeah, it's slowly getting there.
Best thing that could have happened to her
Oh, yeah.
was
Yeah.
the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. It helps.
So, where did you meet Jim at? And so, how did you guys meet? I don't think I've ever heard the story.
Jim was a blind date.
Okay.
This is my first husband.
Okay.
I had a friend in junior college who somehow had met a young man from Tulsa,
Okay.
and they were occasionally dating. And the young man from Tulsa had a friend named Jim. And my friend Nancy asked me to be Jim's date when her date came to see her from Tulsa.
Okay.
So she did tell me he was divorced. So I said, okay, they can pick both of us up at your house. And that started my trail of deceit with my parents. And I met him and went, weak need. He was
a good looking dude.
He was dramatically good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was a charmer and a manipulator and a smooth talker and fun.
Yeah.
I laughed more in that early relationship with him. It was a dream.
Was he already in the Marines when you were meeting?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And talk about a cute ass in a uniform. He had it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was done.
Yeah.
I would have married him the next day.
Yeah.
Were you living in Fort Smith still at
Yes.
this time? Okay. Okay. So they're coming from Tulsa down to Fort Smith. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was a year from that date when we married, and we had seen each other, been in each other's presence only 12 times.
Wow.
Okay.
He came that I guess the blind date must have been over Christmas because he came to Mary Hardin Baylor to see me either 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
And then once you guys were married and had your kids, did you have all your kids in like all over? Did you guys travel a lot? Where was your home base kind of thing?
We moved every 2 years.
Okay.
Now, we may have been running away from relationships that he had, but as far as I knew, he was getting a new job and more money.
Okay.
Okay. So he's not being moved by the Marines at this point?
No, we were in Mojave and Yuma for 2 years while he finished his service.
Okay.
And then we moved to Tulsa.
Okay.
So Steve was born in Tulsa. Jeannie was born 14 months later in Muskogee.
Okay.
And 21 months later, Kimberly was born in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you growing up in your household with your parents and you raising kids, how big was faith or your religion in those raising?
It was always big to me. I believed and had what understanding that I could have when I was 9. And in the Baptist church, that means you walk down the aisle and you say, yes, I accept Jesus Christ as my Savior and Lord. And then you experience an immersion baptism.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I did those things, checked all those boxes when I was 9.
Okay.
And my pastor as a small child was J. Harold Smith.
Mm.
I don't know if he can be found in any records any longer, but he was a mesmerizing hell and damnation beating on the pulpit pastor. And I was scared to death of hell.
Mm-hmm.
But I was faithful. And at 15, I asked to be re-immersed because I didn't feel like I had the full understanding when I was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And from the time that I was 15, I, in some way, was functioning actively within the church, helping in the nursery, being a sponsor in the youth group. Jim and I were sponsors of the youth group when we were stationed in Yuma.
Okay.
Mm.
We were always active with the young people, and we were always active in the church, always. And his dad was a Baptist minister.
That's right.
Okay.
I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah.
So my faith has always sustained me. My faith is what has seen me through the deaths of so many people because I've lived so long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what my percentage would be, but I would guess I'm at least in the upper 5% of people my age who live as actively and as independently as I do.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would think so.
Definitely top 1%.
I would guess so, because we haven't. I don't.
She just celebrated her 89th birthday.
I was about to say you probably should say that because you got permission.
She lives by herself. She drives herself. She works out weekly.
Yep.
She babysits for us.
Yep.
Like, I don't know many people that age.
I don't know many people in their upper 80s that can babysit.
And I have a tricycle.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a motorized tricycle.
Nice.
It's a e-assist one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Because my children didn't want me riding my bicycle. They were concerned that I would fall.
Yeah.
But they agreed to a tricycle. So I have a motorized tricycle.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
How old were you when you started learning about all the other Christian denominations? Like, when was the first time you heard about Catholicism? And what were some of the crazy rumors you heard? Because I had a history professor who said that she had a lot of friends in grade school growing up that she could never go to sleepovers, or kids couldn't come sleep over at her house because the parents were always saying the Catholics had guns in the basements and things like that. So I'm just curious if there's anything similar or...
No, I had a friend when I was in junior college in Fort Smith, and I had a good friend that she and I decided we were going to visit as many different denominations as we could. And the only one that was really spooky was some kind of a Greek Orthodox church.
Yeah. We have lots of Greek Orthodox friends on Substack, so this will be interesting.
Yeah.
I was very uncomfortable there, but and all of my life I've gone to Catholic Christmas Eve services.
Oh. Yeah.
And because the Methodist Church is kind of midline, they don't irritate anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved with a lot of Methodist youth as a youth and as a young woman because they were fun.
Yeah. I had a similar experience because I grew up in the Restoration churches, like Churches of Christ and First Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, that branch. But I went to the Methodist like youth group all the time, and they were very open to that.
Do you want to know what kept me in the Baptist?
Sure.
I believe that when the Bible talks about Jesus' baptism, that he came up, and I believe that was an immersion. So I believe in immersion as a witness of Christ being dead, buried, and rose.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with the judgmental attitude of Southern Baptist across the board.
Right.
All of my life. I have now found and am a part of a very unique Southern Baptist church that with the most non-judgmental, loving pastor, deeply spiritual man.
Mm.
And I love it.
Yeah.
It's not where you would think I would fit.
Mm.
But I believe in the basic theology and doctrine of the Trinity and immersion and a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I am not, and what blocks me with Catholicism is the priest.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated so much, I don't know which one it was, of your, what do you call it, your...
Another episode or...
Yes, of talking about praying with the body.
Oh, yeah.
And the importance of the Catholics kneeling and praying with the body. And I had never put together the concept of praying with the body.
Yeah.
Although I do that.
Right.
And it's important to me to be able to be a part of a church that if I choose to kneel, it's acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not expected or demanded, but I got a lot out of that.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yes.
That spoke to me positively, and it helped me understand and have more appreciation for your kneeling and your genuflect in the Catholic Church. I understand it better now than I ever had before.
I'm definitely glad. Yeah, that was something that blew my mind as well, because we live in the after effects and a lot of efforts to kind of remove physicality from spirituality that kind of coincided even with like Industrial Revolution and different things that were happening at that time. But I've always found it fascinating to kind of rediscover. It's like the fact that in basic Christian doctrine, you're not just a soul. You're not just somebody who thinks, and that keeps your religion kind of private, but that we are like the soul body union, so when we pray, it's important that your body should be involved in that.
Well, God could have just given life spiritually.
Yeah, right.
But he put spirituality of soul in a physical form.
Right.
Why would he do that? And we are to commit all of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Soul, body, mind to him. And on my own, in my private times, I'm often on my face on the floor.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to cry.
It's okay.
Because who am I to call out the name of God? Who am I to interact with such holiness? It wipes me out.
Yeah.
And I go to my face. If I were king, there would be more physical position in worship. Right. I mean, how can we even utter God's name and not just go to our knees You know?
I do. Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
That really ties into what we just recorded an episode over St. Patrick. How after all his sick,
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, it's brand new.
it'll
We just did
release
that
next
one.
week.
Yeah.
But we recorded it just before he showed up, and Ryder was telling me in St. Patrick's writings, like after he had reached his popularity and fame, he was still writing like, "I'm such a sinner, like I'm not
Yep.
worthy," right?
Like St. Paul does, like I'm the worst of all sinners, but it's like St. Paul in the New Testament himself writing
Yeah.
this down,
And when I say the priest in Catholicism blocks me, I'm not meaning that critically, because that one priest, I don't remember his name, but
The one who baptized the kids,
Yes.
Father Rick.
Father Rick.
I really like him.
He's great.
Great.
And I have an issue hearing wise. When I go with you, we're usually kind of near the back, so if Mary gets out of control, you can leave. But I need to be closer up front. Basically, if I could really see him, it helps, because when you're hearing impaired, you read faces as well as just hearing. It's all part of the picture.
Yeah.
So I don't understand him always, but what I do understand is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I like his messages.
Yeah.
But when I go to God in my confession, I don't feel like I need him.
Yeah.
I need Jesus Christ. And my belief in Jesus Christ, and I have the door, because Jesus said, I am the way,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the only way. So I go to Jesus Christ to share my love and make my plea.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing I like about confession in the Catholic Church, I know it's not geared towards this, but I think having that relationship with your spiritual leader of like, hey, these are the things I'm struggling with. I need help. I need guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like any church could benefit from that. It's almost like an accountability thing too.
I think any individual
Yeah.
can benefit
Yeah.
from that. I think it's very helpful for all of us to have someone with whom we can just bear ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another person, another person, a human being.
Mm-hmm.
I see that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's one of my issues after I moved here and moved away from Grove, because in Grove I was part of the 5, and in that 5, you never knew Bill, but there was Bill, and then 2 women who were my friends, and either one of those women were my priest,
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and I was theirs.
Okay.
And one of those women was socially, economically, probably at the top of our 5, and very, very cultured, very correct.
Mm.
Setting a table, whatever, it was perfect.
Mm.
And her husband was still living. I moved in next door to them in Grove. And everything looked idyllic. And I was the one human being on earth that knew that he hit her.
Mm.
Ooh.
So I was priest-like with her.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And I outlived her. I outlived all 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I need someone that I can go talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Well, that makes a lot of sense when you moved here. You were changing churches pretty often.
I changed life.
Yeah.
In Grove, I was the pastor at the hospital. There was only one hospital. Had hand-chosen chaplain volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
You became a chaplain because he invited you.
Okay.
And he had 7 of us, and I was the only woman. So I was hospital chaplain.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was a woman, I was called into ER all the time because there were more men dying than women. So I was a chaplain. I worked in the free clinic. I worked in the polls.
Yeah.
I I was so active in the community. I was a real part of the community, and I don't have any of that.
That makes
Yeah, and I
sense.
didn't realize you were there for so long either. So that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So Grove is just over 7,000. Is that right?
Yeah. It's on the east side of the lake, right?
The lake goes all around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
But that's a very limited physical description of Grove.
Okay.
And beyond that, where so many of the big expensive vacation homes are,
Sure.
brings that population closer to 14.
Okay. Gotcha.
So commercially, it serves 14,000.
Okay. It's been a long time. My family and I had vacation there for kind of a retreat, like my dad's siblings after the colonel had passed away. We'd gone there once. And...
It has a fluid population of about 14.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
where does Charles come into the picture at?
After Jim and I were divorced,
Mm-hmm.
I was still working at the university.
Okay.
And
In Ada?
in Ada.
Okay.
And at that time, I think I had become a dean of arts and sciences.
Okay.
And in the communication department was a woman named Delma. And Delma and I were very, very, very good friends. And Delma came to me one day, and a good friend of her husband was named Charles. And his wife had left him for another man, just as Jim had left me for another woman.
Mm.
And she said, there is no way that you and Charles would ever have a relationship. But he just needs a friend who understands where he is. Would you just meet him for dinner and help him?
Mm-hmm.
He just needs someone who understands. I said, well, sure. That's my calling. Bring him on,
Yeah.
So he called, and it was kind of, howdy. This is Charles. How y'all doing? Delma tells me you'd consider going to dinner. Yeah, okay. So went for Mexican food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solid.
Great choice. Yes.
And that was 23rd of December. And we saw each other almost every day until the following September when we were married.
Wow. So you guys lived in Ada then?
He lived in Calvin.
Okay.
I'm not sure where Calvin is.
It is midway between McAllister and Ada.
Okay.
Going east out of Ada on Highway 1, it's about 45 minutes.
Okay.
And he was the insurance agent for Farm Bureau in Holdenville, which is just south of Calvin.
Okay.
But his first love was cattle.
Mm.
And if he could have afforded it, that's what he would have been. He would have just been a rancher.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have a lot of land,
You do. Yeah.
to feed enough cattle
Yep.
to really make money.
Yeah.
And so he was landlocked.
Yeah.
But he had a small ranch in Calvin, and he ran from 40 to 80 cattle, depending on how many areas he would lease to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
And we started meeting at a Wendy's in Ada after work for both of us, late, And we would sit in a booth, and I would drink cocoa, he would drink coffee and smoke, and we became acquainted.
Mm.
And by May, we were just nuts about each other.
Mm.
And I had a lake house that I had received in the divorce on Lake Tenkiller.
Okay. All right.
And we had gone to Lake Tenkiller to check out the house, and we were in this house that I could not keep it. I couldn't afford to maintain it.
Yeah.
But we were in that house, and he looked at me and he said, "What would you say if I asked you to marry me?" I said, "Well, I guess you'll have to ask."
That's a great answer. Guess you're going to have to pony up.
we were just soulmates.
Yeah.
He was such fun and so Kimberly, one of my daughters, says he was the purest man, except for Jesus Christ, that's ever walked on earth.
Mm.
He was just good.
Mm.
And his dad was a Methodist minister.
Okay.
He was a far better man than I deserved. And I said Charles could have been in a room with 100 naked women and he wouldn't know it. Because all he could see was me.
Mm.
It was a marriage made in heaven. It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
And you guys he passed away from cancer, correct?
Yes, we were married 6 years.
6 years.
Mm.
And I was really mad at God.
Yeah.
Really, really angry.
Yeah.
And I was resentful and I was spiteful because, in my words, he let the bad guy go and thrive, and he took the good guy.
Yeah.
I was, as my mother said, fit to be tied.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt when my grandfather went when I was really young. My mom's dad, called him Papa, and he was a really good guy. I mean, the kind of guy that, like Christ, like he's with the sinners, and then he's with the church folk, and like everybody just kind of was at the funeral. Like when he went, everybody was there. He was that kind of guy.
Yeah, there were over 400 people at Charles' funeral.
Wow. Yeah. Yep.
Every farmer in that part of Oklahoma bought their insurance from Charles.
Gotcha.
He was remarkable, and he loved me so faithfully, and he was such fun. Like one night, he went to bed. I was in bed. I showered, got ready, got in bed, and he was in his overalls. Under the covers in his overalls. Because I'd been giving him a bad time about wearing overalls all the time.
That's funny. I like that.
Yes.
That's a good one.
And we were not intimate until after we were married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was very, very respectful of me, put me up there on that throne and kept me there.
Yeah.
If ever a man knew how to love a woman, he did.
And was the cancer from his smoking or?
Originated with a tumor in a lung. That was the seed tumor. Okay. So don't get me started on tobacco.
Yeah. Was it mainly cigarettes that he smoked? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just curious. So after he passed,
Did you notice how quickly he moved on?
Yeah. I was sitting there waiting. I was like, we're not. I don't want to fight on the podcast.
No, don't push that button. Yeah, that's right. Gotta shut her down.
Yeah.
Right now.
So how long after he passed did you make the move to Grove?
It was about 8 years.
Okay. And during that time?
Well, it was 8 years because he died in December. I turned 60 the following February, and I retired when I was 68.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how old were you when you finished your PhD?
I was 56.
Okay, so I thought it was in that time range.
Okay.
Mine. Gotcha.
Hmm.
Okay.
And one of the deals we had when we married, because I was in the dissertation phase of my PhD, and in my field, you had to do your own research. You had to choose your own statistics. You had to run your own statistics. You had to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, to being married, but I said, you have to understand that you can have one day a week, and the rest of that is my work and my dissertation. And he did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I learned to square dance, and I learned to drive a tractor,
Yeah.
and I learned to ride a horse, and I learned to build a fence, and it was the greatest time of my life. It was out. He taught me never to let weather decide whether or not I go in outside.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And he taught me to ride a horse, and he said, that horse knows you're letting him be the boss. You're the boss. Take charge.
Yeah, I like that. That's so good.
Oh, he was amazing. And eventually, after I was so bitter about his death, God said, rejoice in what I give you.
Yeah.
Rejoice in what I give you, and give yourself and your witness to me. Turn yourself around. And I did. And I learned to be grateful I had those 6 years.
Yeah.
Better than nothing.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so hard to think about it that way, because I'm naturally pretty melancholic and negative. I worked really, really hard not to be that way in recent years. And after we moved back and we had the whole kerfuffle with having to relocate here for work and sell a house and do all that kind of stuff, I was in the pits for a while, because it was, didn't really choose that. It was something that kind of happened to us.
A lot of financial stress. Yeah.
Financial stress, yeah. And so, of course, God handled all of that, because, he dresses the lilies of the field and, knows the sparrow, right? So it's just one of those things where it's just, I had a lot of stress and was letting that get the better of me, and I just kind of had to realize that he's taking care of me. You're going through a little bit of a tribulation that you didn't really want, but on the other end of this is I have something for you.
But Ryan, what I recognized eventually is if we don't go through those tough times, we never grow.
Yeah, right.
We never grow. We stay the same person in our faith walk.
Yeah.
If we don't have these tough challenges.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
One of my challenges was the Bosnia War was going on. It was during my marriage to Charles, and I knew I was to go to Bosnia with a Methodist missionary group. There were 15 of us. And I said, Charles, I'm not asking you for permission, but I ask for your support.
Yeah.
Because I have to go to Bosnia.
Yeah.
I was gone 30 days in Bosnia, and there was active war where I was. And he had a map, and he did everything he could to watch where I was. And the UN would take our messages once a week.
Okay.
So once a week, he would know at the end of the week that I was still alive. He went through that for a month. And when I returned, flew into Dallas, and he met me, he said, the next time God calls you, he's packing my suitcase because you're not going without me. I didn't make another trip. Well, Methodist Church quit doing monthly missions, but that caused our relationship to grow as well.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
We have about 30 minutes left, and I kind of just want to get your take on a couple things, mainly about American culture. So one of them is, over your lifetime, what changes have you witnessed in American culture, especially concerning faith and family values?
Well, the very biggest and the most prominent is the decline of what I consider morality.
Mm.
And the second thing, which is tricky and very sad, and it's the conflict between rights, privileges that are turned into abuse
Mm-hmm.
by the people receiving
Mm-hmm.
the gift of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Democracy cannot function without morality.
Mm-hmm.
Democracy cannot function without self-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And when there is a lack of self-discipline, there has to be political and legal constraints.
Mm-hmm.
And I see those as the two biggest and saddest things that I have seen happen. And most recently, I devalue the computer world
Mm-hmm.
because of the diminishing of human interaction.
Yeah.
That ties into something the Pope just came out and talked about. I'll let you talk about that, about the AI chat.
Yeah, so that's true. So Pope Leo took the name Leo the 14th because Leo the 13th was the big pope during the Industrial Revolution. And so Pope Leo chose that name because he sees this as a new revolution technologically. Like this AI revolution is going to have a massive impact on the way people live in society the same way the
Right.
Industrial Revolution did. So he took that name because he thought it was fitting and in honor of the previous Leo. And so there's something about, there's a debate going on in Catholic circles, and he's kind of weighed in to a certain extent, where there's the idea of interfacing with a chat bot is cheapening or diminishing the end of conversation, because what this machine is doing is mimicking a conversation where it is not a human or it's not another soul. And we have this infamous test in computer science, right? The Turing test, right?
Yep.
If you can tell whether or not a computer is what's responding or not. And some of these things can effectively pass the Turing test, arguably. People debate about
Have
it.
you heard of the Turing test before?
No.
So
Go ahead.
go-
No, you go ahead.
So basically, Alan Turing,
Yes.
like considered one of the fathers of computer science. I forget the years that he lived, but it was long.
World War II
Yeah.
cracked the Enigma machine.
Yes, that's right. Basically, it's if you have a person in a room and a computer in a room, and you can chat with both of them through a computer. If you can't tell the difference between the two, then we have artificial intelligence. That was the theory. So it's called the Turing test.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
So-
it's academia, so it's not necessarily right, you know how that works. But that, of course, having that is one of the watershed tests. So some of these things can effectively pass the Turing test. If to an untrained eye, you won't know, did an AI write this or say this, or did a person? It's getting incredibly, it can be very difficult to tell now. But Pope Leo has more or less come out and talked about how that, interacting with the chat bots in such a way as to, either frustrate or replace human interaction is a major moral issue, or even using AI-generated content for sermons and homilies and things like that is a big issue, right? And he's come out and said, do not do that. Using it as a search engine is one thing to pull sources.
Yeah.
In that regard, it's incredible because it cuts down your research time just tremendously.
Yes. Yes.
But you can't use it in such a way as to let it replace your human creativity and your human effort. Yeah. And so Pope Leo's come out about that in recent I don't remember, maybe a month ago or so from the time of this recording. And so that's, yeah, I mean, the computer age is, I mean, I think about it all the time, kind of going back to the diminishment of like communication and human interaction. Like I am a computer scientist by trade, and my PhD is in quantum computing, which is literally, it's not quantum physics, it's using quantum computers, which are based on quantum physics.
Don't go there, you'll lose me.
Right, and I'm not going to, but it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't even like those things. Ultimately, what I like is people and the relationships and being outside and all of those things that are the best for us. But like, we live in this era where it's like you can understand that stuff and confront it or be destroyed by it, and you won't even know. And so that's where I kind of found myself. So I, in a way, spent a lot of time studying the enemy, because I do not particularly care about computers. But yeah,
I noticed when you came into the kitchen and saw me and you extended your hand and I declined.
Yes.
There was a look across your face immediately, like, what have I done? What?
Yeah.
What do I do? What did I? You were taken aback because I didn't want to shake your hand.
Right.
But you responded well when I opened my arms to you.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Well, I thought, I just washed my hands. Maybe my hands are like dripping wet. Oh no.
I'm a hugger.
Which is good. I like that.
And to your point, I have an iPhone. My granddaughter has an iPhone, and I'm frequently sending something to her, and I will say, "Is this legit?"
Yeah.
Because I can't recognize.
Yep.
And it infuriates me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we even struggle with that too sometimes.
Yeah,
there's so much of it out there.
So much.
Yeah. And
just get a real job.
Yeah.
I literally yesterday at work, he said there's a special place in hell for all those phone scammers.
Yes, I did.
So.
Yes. I think I said there was a place effectively, like kind of like Dante's Inferno, where there's the description of certain circles of hell that have certain punishments for certain kinds of folks. So there's that idea the phone scammers will just be put into a circle of hell where they'll just be continually called all day, all the time. And they won't have any support tools, right? No answering machine, no nothing.
It just infuriates me. It really does.
Yeah.
You have another one?
Yeah, I got a couple. What encouragement or warning do you have for Christians in today's culture?
That's a good question. Did you write that?
Hope or encouragement? Is that what were your two words?
Encouragements or warnings?
Mm-hmm. Encouragement or warnings? Encouragement, I would say, the only reality is God. The only lasting, infallible reality is God.
Yep.
God is eternal. God will never be destroyed, never go away, never neglect, never turn away. He is hope.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, in the words of my mother, if you can't respect yourself, how can you ever expect the respect of others?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So be wary of any action, any word, any belief that enters your life that would bring you anything other than respect from other people.
Yeah, that's a good one. Reminds me of integrity is how you behave when no one's watching, or the other version is when only God is watching, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that made me think of that. I love that quote.
Yes.
I think about it all the time, and it's like if I wouldn't do anything any different if you were in the room or not in the room.
And I think I'm so wanting to get into your lesson about God's creation.
Yeah.
And how he did it.
Yeah, we should do that. We should go over that.
The very magic the very magic of human breath should self-instruct every human being that there's a God. No matter how smart AI gets, it will never provide human breath.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yep. It's true.
Can't do it.
Yep. Same thing. I mean, even with the arguable passing of Turing tests and things like that, people argue is like, well, is this AI going to be somehow intelligent or something like that? And the question is, this just by the mere nature of it being able to recognize patterns in human speech and writing and behavior and then mimic those things by guessing the next most likely token, is what we say, or next most likely word, you can think of it that way, it'll never be intelligent because of that.
But as you said, it doesn't do the laundry.
It doesn't do the laundry.
It doesn't do dishes.
It doesn't do the dishes. And if it ever does, the poor people won't be able to afford it. So I'll be complaining about that too. So that's the way it is, Absolutely.
The thing I'm worried about most in today's culture is, are you familiar with the terms red-pilled, blue-pilled, or black-pilled?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, yeah, we're going down a rabbit hole.
All right, here we go. Meme time.
Yeah. So red pool, it's not red
Got any
pool.
notes?
Red pool.
Red pilled basically means you are going down the conservative route in life.
Okay.
Blue pilled means you're going down kind of the liberal side of life.
Yeah.
And black pilled means you're basically nihilistic.
You're a nihilist.
You think there's no point in life, that kind of thing.
This is all a reference
that
to
makes sense.
Yeah, and also it's a reference to the movie
The
The
Matrix,
Matrix that came out in the 90s. He offers us a red pill or a blue pill, one to escape the current reality to the real one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something I saw during COVID that kind of made me realize all this was the amount of people in our society that worship science.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to talk to friends who aren't religious, who are also engineers like us,
Right.
because they take it as the top authority, like during the COVID stuff. Like, no, the science says you have to take the shot. I'm like, yes. I mean, I disagree with your science, and like, let's have a debate over this.
But you have these studies.
The fact that I said no to it, they were like, how can you be an engineer and say no to this? And it's going on with a lot of things.
Yeah.
But it's the worship of the state mixed in with science, and I hate seeing that, and I think it's getting worse. Like, there's just truths in life that we should be able to debate just based off our intuition. I have friends that wouldn't even debate with me about the COVID vax because I wasn't a biomedical doctor, or I didn't have a peer-reviewed paper to back up my argument. And there's a lot of kids our age that are in that train of thought, and that's one thing I'm really worried about.
Just forgetting the fact that many papers get retracted and have to be pulled back out for different flaws or changes. It's as if it's still proof texting, right? It's still the study that you like, so it's a challenge.
Well, I have said to several people, I wear hearing aids, so I'm hearing impaired. I have macular degeneration, so I'm visually impaired. I am old, so I'm generally impaired.
That is a great quote.
But the sense that I do have that is so strong that most people are losing is common.
Yeah.
Common sense has just been thrown out the window.
Yep.
And it blows my mind.
Yeah, one of my early professors in my college career, actually, he couldn't argue. He would essentially assert that there is no such thing as common sense now because things have broken down so much that there is no common sense.
I agree, and
Yeah.
it started to my awareness and seeing it. It started about 15 years ago.
Okay.
Really started about 15 years ago.
Yeah, that seems right, because that was 15 years ago is almost 2010, which is when I graduated high school, and I have like a really strong sense of the world was one way and then not that way after that period. Now, part of that's just graduating, but my parents feel the same way, which part of that might be me graduating, but that they're 15 years ago seems like a legitimate pin to me to put down.
And that kind of goes along with that timeline that we've talked about, like this whole theory of America 1.0, 2.0, 3.0.
Have you heard that?
Have you heard these?
No.
Okay.
Basically, Revolutionary War, we're America 1.0.
Yeah.
Post-Civil War, we're 2.0.
It's America 2.0. It's reborn. It's not the same as it was.
Yeah.
You know, such a traumatic event.
And the burgeoning number, because we're software guys, that's how we think.
That's where the number comes from. Yeah, and then 3.0 is after World War II. That these are these like watershed moments that the way that America operated or was fundamentally changed. So.
And the next one you could argue is 9/11 tied in with COVID is kind of America 4.0. Things aren't the same that it was before.
And you
Okay.
can
We can't go back.
perhaps go look at the way politicians behaved or how laws were passed or the way
Yes.
the party system functioned. They're all different
Absolutely.
at these different junctures. Yeah, and so that's something we should probably do an in-depth episode on that at some point.
Yeah.
To try to characterize those things.
I was a child, but I remember things about World War II.
Yeah.
And what strikes me most today is the sense of patriotism, if there is such a word,
Mm-hmm.
that was felt then to support the war.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a metal fence. You need it, you take it.
Yeah.
It's for the war.
Yeah.
That isn't there today.
No.
I mean, the closest I felt that way was like post 9/11, right?
Mhm.
Now, it wasn't anything to that level, but like the media, it seemed like everybody was on the same side. But that would have been interesting to live through that.
For sure. In Victory Gardens.
And
And
I
things
remember
like that.
vividly the day that Franklin Roosevelt died.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal. And I was a child, but it was still a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to imagine that ever happening now because the sort of fundamental underlying like mythos in America is like the mythos of revolution, like we're born out of it. And so it seems now that when decorum sort of breaks down and the common sense breaks down and a shared sort of sense of cultural morality even all breaks down, what's still there and that fundamental layer of the American mythos is still revolution. So now it's every cycle. It's like, that's not my president. That's not my government. I don't agree with anything that they're doing. And then you get like this discontinuity between when the party shifts, right? So you'll even in your mind, it's like, well, Biden or Trump or whoever put some policy in that took a while to kick in. The next president reaps the benefit, right, of that possibly kicking off. And so it's like, oh, look how great this president is because it definitely wasn't the last guy.
Yes.
And so this discontinuity of continually overthrowing ourselves is kind of what we have left. And that's why it feels like every election is the biggest election of your life because we're all about to be overthrown.
I may be making too much of a jump for your little system, but
Yeah.
To me, the United States of America currently is a closeted civil war.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's another way to say kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, I think that's fair. And it's not so much everyone wants to pull out the guns, right? Like the closeted part, but it's like we're always in rebellion against each other. Yeah.
And instead of going, oh, you're a strong Catholic, and I'm a Southern Baptist, so let's talk.
Right.
And instead of saying you're a Catholic, well, go to hell.
Right.
And that's where we are today.
It is.
Yeah. There's lots of that. I
Yes.
wish it wasn't that way, but it's almost across like every grid line, like all the different intersections. I'm a this kind of this thing, and you're not. So we have to, we can't just find common ground. There's not much left. I don't know that there's much political advantage for folks that might benefit from these conflicts for there to be a lot of common ground.
I think if I were a parent of small children today, I'd want to run to the mountains.
Yeah.
I'd want to be as self-sufficient and
Yeah.
I think that's why we're seeing a resurgence of
Homesteaders.
Homeschooling,
There's a lot of things-
homesteading.
I understand that.
Homesteaders, yeah. I definitely don't want the government to teach my kids, I just don't.
I mean, my mom's even said, who was in the public school system for 35 years, that us 90s kids kind of had the last good experience of public ed. She said now they don't do field trips, too much liability, too expensive.
Yeah.
There's just all these things they've cut back on that it's not the same.
Well, I've watched the evolving in public schools, particularly high schools, where we started having to have policemen
Yes.
and systems to make sure there aren't weapons and backpacks. We're afraid of our kids.
Yep. And then even when I was still in high school in Shattuck, you still had some folks who would have their hunting rifle in their car. And then when I was getting up in high school, they started to check. So people would like leave school if they forgot and go, put their guns and stuff away. At least that's what I seem to recall. But like even then, it wasn't until I was older in school that anybody ever cared if your hunting rifle was in your truck,
Right.
Yeah. So that's fairly recent too. But there's something about, just that breakdown of the moral piece. It's like you can't trust people with these tools because you don't know what they're going to do.
And we are becoming more like robots than robots are becoming like human. We're as a society reacting to stimuli violently. And for instance, when I'm here with Mary, she may get bluey and she may get trash cut. She doesn't even get the princesses because I don't like the violence. And Disney's very violent.
Yeah, he has a lot of opinions on the whole Disney stuff, taking a lot of the old truths out of the stories.
Yeah, I mean, one for instance, this would be another good episode idea. Like one for instance in Cinderella it's not a fairy godmother. In the Grimm's version, there are no fairies. So in the Grimm's fairy tale version, it's a saint that appears. And so there's.
And what was keep going.
No, I mean that kind of thing. It's a sanitization, cultural sanitization of the story that removes. It secularizes the tale a little bit more, and those sorts of things bother me because I don't think increased secularization is the answer to what ails us. I think that's part of how we got here. So. You were going to ask a follow-up, but that's what came to mind.
Yeah, and he has some books that are like modern redos of the Grimm stories, but with like a different twist on the name. Or is that original name or intention of the name?
No, it is a different twist because the thing about myth and fairy story is it's not meant to be static. It's meant to be retold, and you can change and adjust different parts of the story to fit your setting, and that's actually the way it's supposed to be done. But the symbolic world press has put out some things that Jonathan Pajot has rewritten, and so it'll be like Snow White and the Widow Queen is the name of it. So it's the telling of Snow White that has kind of been re-injected with Christian imagery, and then they tell the story in a way that kind of fits more of the narrative of Scripture, or as Christian morality evolved from the time of Christ forward, it leaves all that in. So they're pretty good.
And what was the Jack and the Beanstalk?
Jack and the Fallen Giants.
Yeah,
which is great because it gets into like the Nephilim from Genesis 6 and things, Goliath and things like that are.
Well, I personally am not an enthusiast about all of the princess business because they all basically point a picture that this beautiful young woman can do whatever she jolly well pleases and everyone's going to bow to her.
Yeah.
And
they're not supposed to, but they do in the Disney movies, yes. I agree.
And I'm naturally opposing anything that's mainstream culture. So I've been trying to... That's why I've kind of showed her the Studio Ghibli movies. He's a fan of those too. The Japanese films that are not princesses or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are typically the main character is female, but the events of the story don't really have anything to do with royalty. It's more an encounter with nature or nature spirits or something that opens your world away from just the concrete jungle.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, emancipation of women is reverted, in my opinion, when you idolize the princess. It puts you back in this unrealistic category where they're not functioning as intelligent, capable human beings.
I would agree with that.
Which is demoralizing to me. Just recognize me as a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're pretty much done. Do you have any closing remarks or anything like that?
I've probably remarked plenty of that.
I was going to ask you, it may be hard for you to answer. Maybe it's easy. I know it's a hard one for me because I don't really have any and I probably should. Like, what is your all-time go-to favorite Bible verse?
I can do all things through Christ, who strengtheneth me. Yes. I can forgive. I can grow. I can worship. I can weep. I can be sad. I can be happy. I can do all things through Christ because he gives me the strength to get through them and get to the other side.
That's a great choice.
I like it.
Yeah.
And I would like to say how much I've enjoyed being here. I respect and love you both, and
Thank you.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
Well, we're really happy to have you as our first guest. So we've set a nice high bar too.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good, a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And
Been fun.
yes.
Well, with that, I think we're done. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you guys next time.
Adios.